Don't kill Phil.
Wow. This is how the sausage is made. The sports dad unraveling the flag right now.
Careful those labrums.
Ruining the spontaneity of the flag. Here we have breaking Vikings news. The Vikings have signed a backup offensive lineman, a swing tackle named Justin Skewell. Get the flag, Judd. Get the flag.
Hold on. Watch this, folks. Watch this.
Flying
We got high flying acts here.
Oh my God, he's gonna.
Oh God.
There you go.
Let's go.
There we go.
Wow. Welcome out to BlackStack Brewing in St. Paul. We appreciate all of you coming out here on a Thursday night to celebrate, I think, the most expensive week in Vikings history. Woo! The Vikings, according to Over the Cap, have spent $250 million on football players this week, adding to the roster, adding to a 14-win team.
You know what's funny? When you have money and you're a football team to spend, it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, it's great.
It's amazing what a rookie quarterback contract can do to allow you to actually go out and spend and follow up what was a really good free agency plan last year with an even better one, it looks like, this year.
And we're always just 2 or 3 degrees separation from a Kirk Cousins contract rant, but that's not gonna.
That's assuming he's not back. Once the Falcons release him, and the Rodgers thing was all just a smokescreen to bring Kirk back to reunite him with KO.
Well, as the backup quarterback list dwindles, Gardner Minshew, someone told me Gardner Minshew to the Chiefs. Is that accurate?
Oh, that happened.
We haven't checked our phones in like an hour, so if things are happening, let us know.
You know what that might mean, Dex?
Carson Wentz.
No.
Carson Wentz.
No one wants Carson Wentz. Don't. Yes, boo.
Let's show him Duluth.
No. Yeah, he can stay in Duluth. He doesn't even have to come back here. He can just go up there. Don't come here.
Oh,
no.
man.
Carson Wentz. Oh, no.
He's out there.
He is sitting out there.
Oh.
So this is our, I think, 4th ever Purple Daily Unplugged event here. We got the sports dad, Judd Zolgad. I'm Phil Mackey. We got executive producer Declan here. Declan's doppelganger, Pat Lager. And then Adam over here, too, on the audio. We'll put a microphone out front here. If you guys have questions or theories, or if you just want to roast one of us or anything, do not be shy. Just form a little orderly line over here. And we'll take your comments throughout the show. But I think since we last convened for a podcast, there has been more breaking news, which is the Vikings got something for Ed Ingram.
Yeah, how about that? Merry Christmas.
Get the flag? No,
the flag. I'll get the flag again, but I need a break right now.
You're out of
the labrums?
I'm 55. My arm's going. I'm like a pitcher. Spring training.
Boy.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll give you 5.
Rotator cuff or tricep? Labrum?
I'm afraid it's a shoulder.
Bicep?
I'm afraid it might be the career. It might be a shoulder.
That's a wrap. It was what was it? Was it the Texans?
2026. Yeah.
The 2026 6th round pick.
So the Texans in the last week have now obtained. They traded a guard away. They have now obtained 2 of the worst 4 guards in protection from last season, including Ed. So their guards now, C.J. Stroud, Godspeed.
So they trade Laramie Tunsil, and then they acquire 2 swinging gate guards.
Correct.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, maybe something happened on this front, but Garrett Bradbury is either going to be released or traded if they can't find a trade partner, right? That's
Correct.
The latest on Garrett Bradbury.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, hey, cheers to the end of the Garrett Bradbury and Ed Ingram era.
Which means
and then look out!
That the Vikings.
It's a twist.
That the Vikings probably called some of the information men and said, "Look, we are desperately trying to trade Garrett, okay? And we're going to release him if we don't trade him. So please, somebody just give us a conditional 7th in 2045 for him."
But and maybe it's not awkward and I'm just naive, but the same representation, right, that represents Bradbury represents the new center they signed. So how does that work? If that agent is representing Bradbury being like, "Hey, buddy, I know I'm signing your replacement, but I got a great gig with the Jaguars lined up for you if you could just get out of this contract." I find that to be so hilarious.
It is awkward. Yeah. So, Ryan Kelly, the new Vikings starting center, they share an agent. Is it agent reaching out to Vikings saying, hey, listen, we know our client Garrett is kind of a train wreck. So we know you're in the market for a center, right? Yeah, I don't know. That's the awkward dance of being an agent, I guess.
The weirdest one of all time was, I don't know how many contracts this guy does now, but there was a guy by the name of Bob Lamont in the early 2000s who represented, like, I'm not kidding, 12 coaches, right? And there were instances where Bob would have a coach fired and his other client would come in and get the job. Imagine that one.
Yeah, how do you explain that?
Hey, Brad Childress, yeah, I'm really sorry about this, but you know what? Your replacement's another guy on who's going to be paying me. This is great.
Leslie Frazier is going to come on down.
Actually, you know what? Les fired his agent to hire Bob Lamont.
Wow.
So yeah, you're not wrong.
Wow. So yeah, that's the news from today. But make some noise if you're happy with what the Vikings did this week. Just curious. Yeah, we were just kind of talking with some listeners here in the audience. I think we brought this up on today or yesterday's show that we did these blueprint episodes where I think we did 7 of them, 7.0, where we're going to do the entire Vikings offseason in 1 hour, and we're going to be as realistic as we can. We've got our spreadsheet of glory with all the cap ramifications. And I would say after 2 or 3 of those, we got done and we said, was that a little unrealistic? Did we gave the Vikings a guard, a tackle, like a defensive tackle, and a cornerback? Is that unrealistic? If we would have done what Kwesi has done in reality on a blueprint episode, we would have said that's clickbait. There's no way.
We did the last one that we did, which was when? At the end of last week?
It was last Thursday.
Okay, so the Thursday, we did that one, and I saw a bunch of notes, and I don't blame them, from fans, viewers saying, what are you guys talking? Like, this is the most unrealistic. It wasn't as good as what the Vikings did.
Yeah. Yeah, and I actually think verbatim in one of our discussions, because I think by Thursday last week, Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen, the 2 defensive tackles, were both available or about to be available.
Yeah.
And I believe our conversation was, well, maybe they'll get one of them. Like maybe they'll get one of those guys to help fix the interior pass rush. To get both of those guys, and by the way, so Milton Williams was the big, he's 26 years old, rotational defensive player from the Eagles, and he is number 1 on the list of free agent defensive tackle options. A, he's never played like a full slate of snaps before, so you're projecting. B, he wound up costing $26 million.
Yeah, it's a ton.
So you get 2 bona fide now they're a little older, so it's not like a 5-year solution.
Right.
But you get 2 guys in Hargrave and Jonathan Allen for less than the price of Milton Williams at the end of the day.
I think the most important thing that's probably not being talked about enough is that beyond Fry's contract, 5 years, every contract that they did is 3 years or less. And what this does, in my opinion, is it now buys you time, for instance, at defensive tackle, to actually get the draft right. So like now if you get the right defensive tackles in the draft, you've got, 2 guys who can play for a couple of years and then can gradually be, now this is assuming the draft is done right, but they can gradually be replaced. As Thor said today on our Thursday episode.
Happy Thursday to all who celebrate, by the way. Yep.
Hope you're enjoying your Thursday.
Yep.
But as he said too, when's the last time the Vikings went into the spring and a draft without like 1 or 2, like, oh my God, if they don't get take your pick.
Yeah.
If they don't, Garrett Bradbury was taken because it was, oh my God, they're good, but they got to get a center. So this is the thing is, this actually, it's pretty simple contracts. It's good veteran players, knock on wood, they stay healthy. But if they do, now you're in a position to be drafting, not for like desperation, but for the replacements that can then come in and hopefully fill the void, Dex.
Judd, did you cover the offseason going into 2008 when they got Allen and Barry and I think even like Medeo Williams? Right?
Williams,
I think he was also part of that big free agency class. Like they got a lot of supplemental pieces. I still, and granted, it's easier to say this now when we're living it, it's recency bias and social media exists more than it did in 2008. It feels like they are, as Thor said today, they're a Super Bowl team. Like in 2008, it was tracking towards there, but they had, God bless them, Gus Frerotte and T-Jack, and now it's completely different.
Let's actually, I'm glad you brought up Super Bowl contenders. I think we should drill down on that here real quick. And maybe we should poll the audience again. After what they've done this week, make some noise if you think the Vikings are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. All right, a lot of noise.
Yeah.
It's either a lot of noise or some really good BlackStack beers. I'm not...
Both.
Or both.
Combination of both.
Or that Reuben pizza that these guys are...
Plus some killer pizza.
Smell you guys from here.
They are... So this is... And we debated this, fought about it, take your pick.
Oh, God.
Hard feelings, no question. I'm still hurt. But what we debated on Wednesday is in 08 and then going into 09, they did not have the quarterback. Going into 09.
They had everything.
They had everything else.
The pieces were in place.
Yes. And I remember, God rest his soul, John Clayton was doing his training camp tour, and I want to say it was 09, and he's like, this team is great. Like these guys, and I'm like, yeah, but the quarterback. And then eventually Favre came, and we all know how it played out, but it was still a lot of fun. Nonetheless, this is why I don't want to go down the Rodgers rabbit hole, because I think McCarthy, with what he has tools-wise, can do the job. And right now, I'd be hard-pressed to give you the last time I felt that the Vikings were on both a short and long-term track that I like this much.
I will add this to, even though I tried to give you guys the perspective that may lead to Aaron Rodgers, but I agree, I'm in on McCarthy. I think in 2009, well, two differences. The loaded rosters in both cases, but in 2009, you had already decided that your young quarterback, Tavares Jackson, was not your quarterback of the future, right? So it was like the Vikings said, we don't have a quarterback, period. Let's look for anything. Let's worry about this year first and then 2010 later. Right. So that cleared the runway for Brett Favre. This is a little bit different in that you have a quarterback that you love and you would like to see him through the next 10 years or so. But I think the other biggest difference is it was the roster was kind of aging in 2009. You had some guys get a little older. I mean, Peterson was young, but the Williams wall was not getting any younger. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of an all or nothing year. I don't think 2025 is an all or nothing year. It'd be great to cash in while your Super Bowl window is open. But I think, maybe I'm taking it for granted, I think it's open for like 3+ years. And if McCarthy is that guy, it's open for 10 years. So you don't reek of desperation as much as you did maybe to cash in 2009.
Yeah, and I think, I know Patrick Royce's brought this up before too, but they were relatively healthy last year. They lose Darrisaw, that was a big one. Not taking that for granted. Like, that was definitely a big injury. If they have Darrisaw in the playoffs, could be a completely different game. But the injury bug was not on their side, and it feels like that's always a year-to-year thing. They signed a bunch of free agents that are up there in age. Last year, they were the oldest roster, one of the oldest rosters in the NFL, and I'm guessing with some of the free agent additions, they're probably going to still be up there, right, in terms of average age roster. Not that completely matters a ton. The X factor, though, is McCarthy. Like, if McCarthy is legit from day one, and I'm not saying that the playoff fate is a wash, but if McCarthy is legit from day one, that was not 2025 was not Super Bowl or bust. It's the beginning of something different.
I want to find out, though. Like that's my thing. If it's a top 10 pick who, yeah, he didn't play or practiced, but he got a year in the building. He's a very mature kid. So, like, I'm not fretting about, oh, man, we've seen him a little bit, and he seems really immature, and there might be one is, I want to see this. And, if O'Connell is as good as O'Connell's been, Darnold, Cousins, it's going to work. In fact, it probably, long-term, works better with McCarthy than it did the veterans. The other thing is, I would argue that this team's and I like this, they're on a 2-track plan. Because you sign the veterans, right? Those guys come in, hopefully can play. If they can play and they're a semblance of who they've been throughout their careers, you've got something for 2025. But my point again is in the draft now, you're still taking defensive tackles. So the 2-track plan is, yes, you can win right now, but there's not this complete go for broke. And you've got some nice pieces too, young, right? You've got Jefferson, who's still young, long-term contract. You've got potentially a running back that you're going to draft. Will Fries is a 27-year-old right guard. Darrisaw, not old. So I really feel like it's, you could definitely be our Super Bowl contender in 2025. But if it doesn't happen, I don't think you're going to fall apart, which is at times what has transpired in the past for the Vikings.
Yeah.
So where do we fall in the competitive rebuild phase of Kwesi's infamous words and plans? Like, has the competitive rebuild been complete? Are we in the middle of it still? Like, right? It's complete. I think that's the point, right? It's complete.
I think he used the wrong phrase in retrospect.
I don't know, man. Like,
I think he used the wrong phrase.
They literally... I mocked it the first year because, like, you know what? Why would you even just pick a lane, man? Just either go for it. But they were very competitive for 2 of the 3 years, while they cleared out all the bad contracts, cleared out all the cap space to do what they did this week, found their quarterback of the future. So they've arrived this week at the point where teams sometimes tank to get to over the course of 5 years. So it wasn't perfect. There's I think they probably missed some value on maybe Daniel Hunter or whatever, maybe in the name of being competitive.
And the draft.
And the 2022 draft, which I know
3 guys
that's a
standing
curse
still?
word here.
3 guys standing?
It's Brian Asamoah,
Chandler,
Ty Chandler, who's probably going to get cut,
Jalen,
and Jalen Naylor, right? And I think Asamoah might stick around as a special teams ace, and then Jalen Naylor is going to be on the team for sure for 1 more year. So. Yeah, it's. By the way, we have the microphone out here. Don't be shy. You want to come up here. If you want to insult us or ask us a question, just come on up here and jump on and join the podcast.
Till Cooper Kupp signs.
Do we think that's going to happen?
I'm telling you, it makes too much sense.
I saw some really damning information on him today.
Did he sign?
Cooper Kupp? Is he still out there?
I've seen him still
in the last 2
out
hours.
there.
I feel like caveman. We haven't been looking at. Well, you're looking at Twitter right now as Phil speaks, but like I haven't looked at Twitter in a very peak week to not put the phone down for like an hour.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna cool your jets on Cooper Kupp here a little bit.
All right.
So
Kale loves him.
This is from Warren Sharp, the mustached analytical football guy.
Okay, Warren Sharp,
and he cites ESPN's player tracking data that over the last 4 seasons, Cooper Kupp's ability to get open, which apparently is a trackable stat through this tracking data, he's gone from 15th to 71st to 102nd to 141st in ability to get open. Wow.
That was very good. It was not, but it was good.
Steal that from Garage Logic. Let's do it.
It was good.
Does that make you nervous a little bit on old Cooper Kupp?
No, here's why. Because if he was here, wait a
second, hold on. TikTok Dustin. Yeah, you look like Cooper Kupp. Yeah,
kind of.
A little bit, yeah, I can see it.
I can see it.
So here's why it doesn't scare me. Because this is why he should be the 3rd receiver here, with Jefferson drawing the attention. See, his problem was with the Rams in the last 2 years, and he's been hurt for 3 years, but with the Rams, he was still a priority receiver. So they were still trying to make him happen like it was 2021.
Yeah, but
I would say
he still can't get open. Are you saying that?
I'm saying
he'll have worse players defending him or something?
Yes, yes. The coverage won't be the same. And I also checked it out today. I believe Jalen Naylor last season dropped, was it 6 passes?
It was a lot. It was one of the highest drop rates.
Dropped like 2.
Yeah.
And the targets were something like, for Jalen, 42 targets. For Kupp, 100 targets.
Well, for the Judd Zolgad Substack, which I read this afternoon in my email.
That's judd.zol.gad.
No, it's judzolgad.substack.com. Only $80 a year for just really great material.
And what made Justin Jefferson so special, right, Judd, was O'Connell's conversation with Jefferson about what Cooper Kupp can do of playing different types of wide receiver, right? To outside slot, X, Y, Z, whatever.
Yep.
And that's my football take. Actually, hold on. Where's the football sounder?
Find the sounder, Declan.
There it is.
Football.
There it is, X, Y, Z take.
That's right.
But if Kupp can benefit from Jefferson obviously getting a lot of the attention, is there still a lot more in Cooper Kupp that isn't just the analytics of saying he might be cooked?
That's what I'm wondering. And look, McVay and the Rams were going to use Cooper Kupp like he was a top 2 guy. I think what that bears out is he's a 3 now, and he needs to accept that.
Does he know and think that he's a 3?
Well,
or do the Seahawks get desperate and say, we need a 2 and we'll pay you like a 2?
But if I'm Kevin O'Connell, I'm Cooper Kupp's friend. I'm appealing to him as his friend, like almost a brother or father, and saying,
Cooper, you're terrible now, buddy.
Cooper, you're not that good anymore. Why would you want to go to Seattle? Green Bay. Do you want to go outside and play in Green Bay?
Cooper, you're garbage, dude.
Yeah.
Just sign with us. Come on.
And Jacksonville. Do you want to go play in Jacksonville? I'm saying Cooper Kupp, I think, can be had here at a reasonable price. DeAndre Hopkins got from the Patriots a couple days ago, 1 year, $5 million.
Yeah, but he'll get more. Kupp will get more than that.
Right, but I don't think he's going to get way more.
But these teams are not blind to the data, the analytics too. So it's going to be. Yeah, I think he gets more than 5. I agree with Dex, but I just saw. By the way, our guy Tyler Fornes tweeted out a list of the available backup quarterbacks now. Because the Vikings have not signed. I mean, Brett Rippon, I guess, could be their backup quarterback.
No, he's an assistant coach in waiting. I'm telling you.
I'm going to read a list of backup quarterbacks. Make noise if you're interested. All right. Joe Flacco. Okay. All right.
I take Flacco. That's okay.
Too old.
Cooper Rush. These two guys.
As long as he's playing the Vikings in practice, I want Cooper Rush.
That one, was it like a Sunday night game?
It was a Halloween game. It was spooky. Yeah.
He ripped the Vikings. Drew Lock, Declan's guy.
Yeah.
Drew Lock.
For the vibes, baby.
All right.
Just for the vibes. Okay. I'm the only one with the vibes.
Carson Wentz.
All right, that makes me happier.
Literally 0.
I got a bad feeling. So that name's off the list. I got a bad feeling.
Wait a second, though. Objectively, more noise was made for Drew Lock than Carson Wentz as a backup quarterback. All right?
It's all...
He's one of us. He's a North Dakota State guy.
Yeah, 5-state area.
Yeah,
that's all.
I agree with Jed.
Jameis Winston.
Oh, wow. I didn't see that coming.
You guys just want the fun.
Okay. Defend your take. You're out on Jameis Winston. Everyone here is in disagreement with you.
That was awesome.
I think Kevin O'Connell would sign almost anyone because of Jameis's propensity to go YOLO at any moment on the football field.
I know, but I fought you on this. Nick Mullins, smaller sample
went
size.
YOLO on him.
But Nick Mullins stuck around after going YOLO for a couple years. At least a year after going YOLO.
Yeah, and played like one snap, and then Darnold would be like wheeled back on the field. It's like, Sam's good to go now, Nick. You come out.
But Jameis could also opt. Kevin O'Connell wants you to hunt down the field for big plays, right? And Jameis Winston, he'll give you some picks. But that dude is going to hunt down the field for glory, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, Nick Mullins is the Coke Zero version of Jameis
Yeah,
Winston.
I know.
I want the full octane Coca-Cola. I want the full soda, man. I don't want Nick Mullins.
That game in Cincinnati a couple of years ago left an indelible impression in KO's mind.
What was worse, the Cincinnati one or that wobbling duck he threw at from half field to sealed the interception? Yeah.
The Cincinnati, I'm being sacked. What should I do? I'm going to just toss the ball up in the air.
Yeah.
That was it for KO.
Yeah, you could see the processing of, I don't want this play to end. I'm going to...
And we're at home, like, watching that, and I'm like, he's not. No. Oh.
No, he is. He is. Okay. Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy? Anyone? Okay.
Okay. He's a high school football coach now, but he is available.
He's still... Here's my question. Is he still playing? Like, he came back for Detroit after coaching his team to a high school championship. Is he still, like, marketing himself out there?
I mean, I think, like, if a team came in and said, we'll give you $2 million to be our backup quarterback, would he turn down, unless he's making $2 million to coach high school football?
I don't know. I'm just asking, because he retired and then just sort of came back and gravy trained it with the Lions.
Case Keenum.
Come on.
I love
2017,
this guy.
we'll always remember it.
And then
forget.
I'll give you one more former Viking here for a backup quarterback option. Taylor Heineke.
Yeah. Declan's Bad Quarterback Club. Love me some Taylor Heineke.
Yeah. This is also a quarterback cesspool challenge list right here,
All of
too.
them, yeah.
So,
Very much.
yeah. I don't know. Are we forgetting it? I mean, obviously, Kirk and Aaron Rodgers.
We're forgetting
and those guys,
Dan Fouts.
But that's literally the list of available quarterbacks to be. One of those guys is probably going to be the Vikings' primary backup quarterback.
Probably, but let's not close the door on what might be going on. I want to desperately, but it does seem odd.
All right. As the former lead Vikings beat writer from the Star Tribune, accessvikings.com, percent chance Aaron Rodgers is a Viking. It's not zero. It is not zero.
It's not zero. No. I'm going to give it 2%.
Okay.
It's definitely it's been talked about. It might be done by now, but it's definitely been talked about. And if it's been talked about, and just because the Vikings are the Vikings, we can't just dismiss it as much as I want to. Look,
Aaron wants it to happen fairly clearly based on the reporting, right? And why would he? He's like, well, the Giants are just, you're going to end your career winning 5 games.
Oh, it's Pittsburgh, right?
Pittsburgh is like, okay, they're a playoff team, but now I have to deal with a non-offensive head coach, who I respect, right, if you're Aaron. But DK Metcalf and George Pickens throwing tantrums every other play.
The other thing I thought of in Pittsburgh, because I do think that Pittsburgh makes a ton of sense, and there reportedly is an offer to a guy who I saw a picture today. He's on a beach in like a muumuu.
So okay. I actually the Purple Daily Anonymous tip line reached out about that photo, and I got a note from someone last night that photo of Aaron Rodgers on a beach is not a current photo. That he was actually somewhere else last night, like with some close friends. Because
taking mushrooms or something.
Yeah, like he was not on the beach. He was like,
McAfee
I don't want to like elaborate, but he's somewhere for a charitable reason last night, according to the Purple Daily Anonymous tip line. Okay.
Well, that's
and we have every reason to trust the Purple Daily Anonymous tip line.
Why wouldn't you?
Okay.
Because today on his show, McAfee put that up on TV and talked about it.
Yeah.
The photo. So somebody's not telling the truth here.
Well, we talked about on our show today the Vikings canceled press conferences because they were afraid to talk about Aaron Rodgers, and that got negated behind the scenes by people inside the Vikings.
Poor Dukes took the downfall from my theory. That was nothing more than a sports dad cockamamie theory.
Should we go to the crowd here? All right. Give us your name and then roast us or give us your take, whatever you want.
My name is Chris, and I've been to the third live Unplugged event, and I got 2 hot takes. First, Judd grabbed the flag. The Vikings are winning the division next year, and the Packers will finish last.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, here it is. All right, okay, look out. No one is safe. Spicy.
My second hot take is Kirk Cousins comes back to the Vikings as a strictly backup to J.J. McCarthy.
Okay.
And we sign Cooper Kupp and go all in for a Super Bowl. In case J.J. McCarthy gets injured, we have a valid backup quarterback to play the rest of the year.
You're saying Kirk comes back here as a backup?
As a backup.
You know
after
what?
being cut.
So I have a theory on that. So Cousins has, thank you by the way, Cousins has what's called, yes, round of applause for Chris. Cousins has offset language in his contract, which essentially means the Falcons are going to pay him to play somewhere else. So if he signs for, because I think his base salary is like 25 or 30 million or something, and then the bonuses.
Yep.
So he's not going to sign for more than that with a team, which means he's going to sign for as little as possible so that the team can have a team. If he's going to play for $2 million, and his choices are, I can make $2 million to play for the Browns and start and get my brains beat in and tear my Achilles again, or I could make $2 million to be a backup with the Vikings. Would you rather start for the Browns or back up for the Vikings if you're Kirk Cousins for the same amount of money?
If I'm Kirk, I go start.
Okay.
And if I'm the Vikings, I let him start. I'd be very worried about the politics. Like here's my
not
thing.
Like actual politics, but
the politics of the locker room.
Of Kirk.
Okay, yeah.
Of Kirk Cousins.
I just want to clarify.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not concerned about the political climate. But my thing is, if I am O'Connell, my number one, like one of my top charges is to make McCarthy as comfortable as possible when it comes to like the guys behind him. I don't need any BS. And this team has created such a great culture that I don't want something like, because if Kirk's here and he's played in this system and he knows it backwards and forwards and JJ has 2 bad games, you know what's going to happen? There's going to be a call for, well, you should start Cousins now. So
would the people in this room call for Kirk Cousins to start in week 3 if J.J. McCarthy gets off to a slow start? Yes, you would.
He's a Packer fan.
You're a Packer fan? Oh, he's a Packer fan.
He told me he's a Packer fan.
That's amazing.
I love that. I still wouldn't do it.
He's a mole. He's a mole.
All due respect to this entire room, but I want to make McCarthy. It's why I like Flacco. I think Joe Flacco would be
too old.
Ideal backup.
I used to love me some Joe Flacco. I think he's too old, man.
Too old?
Yeah, too old.
He's too old.
Look at him. He got crumbled at US Bank Stadium because he's too old.
Yeah.
I would rather. I mean, if it's insert QB2 that we talked about earlier on that free agent list, or Kirk Cousins, who's more beneficial to JJ McCarthy's development? I would say it's Kirk Cousins. It's not even close.
As a backup?
As a backup.
I don't trust it.
You think Kirk?
I think it could happen.
You think Kirk would connivingly try and steal? He would sabotage JJ.
I think there's too much
by giving him the wrong preparation,
the wrong code words.
No,
so that the wrong code words.
I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I
It's
want to look.
reindeer on reindeer.
I'm trying to make things go as smoothly as possible in a sport that often doesn't operate smooth, and now I got a bunch of problems here. I want JJ McCarthy to be as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, but you also want a competitive. If JJ goes down or something happens, knock on wood. Carson Wentz. I'm fine with Carson. Hey, listen, if Andy Reid was fine with Carson Wentz being the backup to Patrick Mahomes, I'm fine with Carson Wentz being the backup.
I'm not going to badmouth
JJ
Carson
McCarthy.
Wentz. That's only one person up here on the stage.
Yeah. All right. What's your name and what are your thoughts?
My name's Ken, and wondering, because we did so great in free agency, where do you think we're going to go on the draft?
That's the beauty. You kind of touched on this. They don't go in with like a desperation smell, we have to draft a cornerback. I think running back is high priority, but not necessarily have to take in the first round.
Yep.
You got Aaron Jones. I would still look for interior defensive pressure. But you know what? Quite frankly, this might sound insane, but let's say there's like a receiver or a punter, first round.
A kicker?
If there's a left tackle that falls or a right tackle that falls, and it's a crazy talented player that like should have been a top 10 pick, should you not just be in the business of in 1998, the Vikings did not need a wide receiver.
Right.
Oh my gosh, Randy Moss is here. What do we do? You could trade back, I guess, and let someone else draft him, but I think they should just be in best player available mode at this point.
And I think they'll trade back probably too.
It's fine.
So it's like if there's a crazy tackle talent, my guess is that they would then get a team that's desperate to give them more. But just off the top of my head, I still think interior defensive line, because those guys are not young. 30 and 32 respectively. Mm-hmm. So I would not mind seeing ready-made replacements for at least one of those guys, A, if they get hurt, or B, just to develop them, because their time here is not going to be very long.
Yeah.
I know Vikings fans get super annoyed by it, but I'm not against another corner. I know they've drafted, 4 corners in the last 10 years in the first round, it feels like, but I would not be against another cornerback. Use them, abuse them, get out, may as well.
How about a fullback?
Oh, how about Kyle Juszczyk?
Yeah, he's
how
out
about
there.
You cut C.J. Ham, you bring in Kyle Juszczyk.
San Francisco's cut their entire team.
Yeah.
I love some of the Bradbury theories of, could we just move him to tight end or fullback?
I thought guard was funny. Just move him to guard. He's played some guard before. He can play guard.
If you gave Garrett Bradbury a neck roll, would you respect him more?
Yeah.
I think that's what this comes down to.
No, I need him to grow, and then I'd respect him more.
Is it? I mean, I guess we'll probably talk more about this maybe on tomorrow's episode too, but it's kind of crazy. They lost that playoff game against the Rams, and Kevin O'Connell, in a rare form, went to the podium, talked to the media, and essentially said immediately after, it was either right after the game or it was the next day's press conference, and said, yeah, our interior offensive line needs to be better.
It was post game.
It was right after the game.
Mark Craig asked a question, and Mark wrote this. He's like, I expected the most milquetoast vanilla response.
Yeah.
O'Connell lit up the interior line, rightfully so.
Never does
and
that.
then tried at the combine to sort of like walk it back. I didn't say that. I wasn't saying the guys had to go. It's
but
like
he decided emotionally and correctly in that moment after they got bounced. He knew in his head, we're getting rid of Ed Ingram, who was already benched, and Garrett Bradbury.
Well, so I think the story there was, and I don't know who it was, but I think behind the scenes, he had wanted to bench Ingram a while back, and I don't know if it's because of the 2022 draft or what, but he was basically told, please don't bench him, blah, blah, blah. And O'Connell, I think, made some references to that. He basically, like a month before they benched Ingram, alluded to, we're going to do something there.
Yeah.
And I think by the Rams game, and that Detroit and the Rams game, they got their asses kicked. And I think O'Connell was like, we're done with this. Like, I don't care. Which is why I wouldn't be surprised if his new 4-year contract has a bit more verbiage about his control of roster decisions. I don't think we'll ever find that out, but it feels like he has more ability to control things.
It still blows my mind that the Vikings were a playoff team last year and they lost to 2 teams all season long. Like, I still wrap my head around that when I try to think about what this team accomplished. They lost to 2 teams all season.
Yeah, it's crazy. But those 2 teams, it's not like a small sample size alert. Those 2 teams beat you in the same way.
Yeah.
Offensively, a great pocket passing quarterback that dissects your blitz. So they said, wait a second, if we're going to play Jared Goff and we're going to play Matthew Stafford and pick your pocket passing quarterback, if we keep sending 6 on defense every play, they're going to pick us apart. So how do we fix that? Go get Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave so that you don't have to send 6 every time. You can send 4.
Yeah. My guess is on defense, Flores said, this is ridiculous. And he's 100% right.
I don't want to have to do this every game and dial up 30 blitzes.
And then O'Connell said, offensively, and I don't even know, I want to see them run the ball more effectively. Red zone, I think we all know, including Kevin, it's a must. But I think the thing, too, is he was just tired after going through training camp and having a tough training camp. Because he basically said, we are going to be tougher. And then you get to those last 2 games when it's just absolutely, you got to be going there with a snarl. And they sort of meekly lost. Because what's weird about it is the Detroit game here earlier in the season, they got off to a great start. Yeah. Like, it looked like they could, if not steamroll the Lions, certainly win. And then the Rams game there, they certainly had a chance. But then those last 2 games, it actually got worse.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked. I know the Eagles still exist. If we were headed for a Rams-Vikings NFC Championship game in 2025.
Well,
the Rams added Devontae Adams. Their defense, phenomenal.
That's that team's Super Bowl or bust. Right,
Rams?
Rams.
Yeah, with Stafford and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, because Stafford's very much a year-to-year thing by now. Yeah. I will say this, talking among friends, because I don't want this out, but I have heard some interesting rumblings, let's say, about O'Connell's response to what the Rams did. And the reason why it was sort of written that after the fact that, the Detroit game's on Darnold. The Rams game, we didn't play well. It's like, no, Sam didn't play well. But anyway, evidently McVay told O'Connell after the fact, the reason why I sat all my starters in week 17 was to solely prepare for your team, and we knew everything you were going to do.
Wow.
And it basically said, I guess, peacocking, I beat your ass.
So they had like an offline conversation among friends in which McVay said, "Here's how we did it." Is that kind of the?
Yes. After the fact, McVay volunteered up people because I believe that the Rams were not, if I'm correct, for Week 17 were not locked in yet, and so fans were like, "What are you doing? Why aren't you playing your guys?" And McVay, of course, didn't say why, but he said, "I wanted to play the Vikings. We had an idea for them, and we basically spent our entire time executing that idea."
I think they were locked in going into the last regular season game, right? Because Jimmy G started.
That's what I don't remember.
No, Jimmy G started. So they definitely were locked into it. Because why would they start Jimmy Garoppolo if their playoffs were on?
Well, they were locked in as the division winner, right?
Right.
But not as a seed.
And I think they wanted the Vikings.
Got it.
He wanted to play the Vikings.
Because he's the teacher.
He's the OG.
And KOC's the student. All
Anyway,
right.
don't
coming
repeat
up
that.
here.
Can I make a write that down prediction?
Yes. Can we
All
make
right.
this official?
Yeah.
Can we log this one?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
McCarthy throws for 4,000. We win the division, and we at least go to the NFC title game.
Oh wow! Wow! Oh wow! Get the flag and hide the glasses.
Get the glass again.
Don't break a glass.
Don't want to break that beautiful
Wow.
glass. It's a
Let's
long
go.
ball. There you go.
The Purple Daily Kool-Aid. Love it. Great prediction. Great prediction.
Write it down. You like writing things.
Yep. Now it's official now. Yeah. Amazing. So yeah, I mean, what a week. What a week. I feel like we've never, like, in the social media era where we can all connect with each other and YouTube and this podcast and stuff, they've never had cap space.
No.
You're always watching all the other teams sign players, and
Do you
maybe
wanna
the
do
Vikings
rant
get
now?
a guy.
Starting in 2018, they never had cap space.
Yeah. No, I'm done ranting about that. I think point has been proven.
Yes.
But that's the thing. It's like, all right, if you're like the Cowboys, for instance, everyone's like, why aren't the Cowboys being active? I don't know, because they're paying Dak Prescott $60 million a year.
They signed a couple backups. They're fine.
They're going to be selectively aggressive. Well, they're great at the selective part so
That
far.
means they're selectively poor.
Yeah. All right, come on up.
Miriam here from Sacramento, California.
From Sacramento? All right,
I've been a
let's
fan
go.
since I was 4 in Mexico City.
Love it.
I'm going to do a reckless speculation.
Okay, a little reckless speculation.
Conspiracy theory. The Super Bowl logo has the colors of the winners.
Yeah.
This year is purple and blue.
Yeah.
Vikings, Bills.
Vikings and Bills would break the entire internet.
I like
and
it,
everything.
though.
And we
So
will
you think
be
the script is
alive
done?
and win the Super Bowl.
So
Yeah,
the script
love
is
this.
written.
Yeah.
But you've seen that theory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
last
Oh,
10
yeah.
Super Bowls, the colors of the logo have matched.
Reckless speculation.
Nice
There you
work.
go.
I like it.
Great. Yeah, dude, a Vikings-Bills Super Bowl would be one of the great storyline Super Bowls
Oh, my God.
in the history of the NFL.
I feel like people would be more, if you were to poll America, I think they'd be rooting for the Bills more than the Vikings.
because
With
the
current-
perception is they've been through more hardship,
Yeah.
the 4 straight losses, the Josh Allen can't quite
You know
get
what?
over the hump thing.
I'll say
Yeah.
this. If that comes to fruition and it's McCarthy against Allen, because quarterback popularity is a huge part, right? Like if people like your QB, I think it might be fairly more split because I think people are going to love McCarthy. Like, because Josh Allen seems like a great guy.
McCarthy does. Dude, how about McCarthy,
They both
by the
do,
way?
yeah.
He's literally spending every week of his offseason helping to bring supplies to homeless.
Yep.
And, he partnered up with a popular TikToker to literally like raid Target and pizza shops and
Buy
other
food for
supply
people and
stores
take-
to buy
Now-
food and warm supplies. And
If
it's really cool.
Aaron Rodgers, the Bills will be the popular pick.
You know what? Okay, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, people had a hard time wrapping their heads around Brett Favre, A, being a Viking, and then B, maybe being the guy that led the Vikings to their first Super Bowl championship. I do wonder, that is one of the interesting threads here, is like, if the 2% chance that you said hits and they sign Rodgers, I've seen a lot of people say they're going to like bail on being a fan.
Yep.
That I will no longer be a fan if that happens.
Yep.
But if they're on the doorstep of it, that would be a crazy, crazy quarterback to deliver the Vikings' first Super Bowl championship. That's why I hope it's McCarthy. I hope it's McCarthy.
Rodgers to me would feel far more dirty than Favre did.
I don't know, man. Like, I think personality-wise, Favre more likable, right?
Yes.
He's at the time he was just this lovable,
shucks.
ass-slapping veteran
And the
grizzled quarterback.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure, right.
And Aaron's kind of he's kind of a hermit, He's like, I don't know. Yeah, let's do it with J.J. McCarthy, I think is the. All right. TikTok Dustin in the house, everyone. Here we go.
Yeah, Dustin, a.k.a. TikTok Dustin, some of you guys know me as. But
So we fixed center and right guard. Just curious on your guys' thoughts on the left guard position. Should we fix that, or is that okay for now because he's right by Darisaw? Or
Yeah, I mean, right now it's kind of Blake Brandel and then whatever else they would add. Is my guy Brandon Scherf still out there as a free agent? I mean, you could still jump in and just grab like Brandon Scherf and you could. Zeitler already signed with Tennessee.
Yep.
Yeah.
And don't forget too. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. Don't forget, if Darisaw is back, Brandel's a better player. So like they might be, with the center changed. Like
Sure.
I will say this.
How about Cam Robinson as your starting left guard?
No, you want him to sign somewhere else.
I know, but if he's not going to get a contract somewhere.
He'd still want more than I would want to give him to play guard for me. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I would love to see, the domino needs to fall there because they have played the compensatory pick game, much to Thorsky's delight. I mean, they have done hell of a job. They're going to walk away with another third round pick in 2026 probably. Yeah. They got, Cousins got them the top compensatory pick this year.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite, low-key favorite things about this show is that we all learn things together, like how to generate a third-round compensatory pick through the free agent math,
Yep.
And guys like Thor get us all excited for, okay, if they don't make any more moves and Cam Robinson signs somewhere, then they're going to get a second third-round comp pick.
The genius, in fact, write this down. Within 5 years, the compensatory pick announcement will be a primetime show.
Write it down. You like writing things.
Yeah.
I might use that one.
Yeah.
It's got because now it's just this, noon, right? Hey, they got the compensatory picks out. It'll be an NFL Network, ESPN2 primetime show.
They can cut live to bars like this where the Minnesota Vikings get a sixth-round comp pick and the flag. Let's go.
What if they started to up the stakes and started compensatory picks in the second round?
Yeah, because it's a third round is the best you can get, right?
But let's say they start.
What if you get just fleeced in free agency and someone takes 6 of your best players and you sign nobody? You should get a first round comp
honestly,
pick.
I'll write that down of a second round comp pick in the next 5 years. I feel like it's not out of the question.
Yeah.
It'd be more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, coming up.
Hi, my name's Chris. My Twitter handle is @ClutchBuyers, and I have 11 followers.
Let's go. Let's get to 15 tonight.
20.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot of Super Bowl talk, which is awesome. But who deliver us a championship first, the Vikings or the Wolves? Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Yeah. Let's get you to 15 followers tonight. I don't know. The Wolves, if you look at their schedule, aren't losing another regular season game, so they'll be the 2 seed in the Western Conference.
And then they roll through 4 rounds. Sweep 16 wins, and then they get the LOB.
Yeah, well, when they face Boston in the finals, it gets a little dicey, but it is an interesting parallel because both teams are pretty loaded, pretty deep. They've got superstar young players. I don't know, man. The NBA is such a gauntlet, though. I mean, you live like the NFL. You can kind of, if you get a bye in the first round and then a couple of home games.
Yes, exactly.
It's kind of it sounds crazy because the Vikings haven't been to a Super Bowl since the 70s, but technically it is a quicker, maybe easier path. You get lucky in the first game.
If McCarthy delivers like I think he can, that changes, and he does it within the first 4 years now. Changes everything. It changes everything because you've got the offense, you've got free agents. Like if you look at the roster construction with a quarterback on a rookie contract, I feel like that's to use the cliche, the ultimate cheat code.
Yeah.
Because now, to your point, if you get home field, you win a couple of games, you're there.
If the Vikings nail the next 2 drafts, they're going to be, it's going to be a 5-year window, but that's a big if. Because Dallas Turner has to pan out, so I would say Vikings.
I think he will.
I think he will.
I'm still pretty confident with him.
Yeah. Come on.
Hi there. I don't have an Instagram. I don't have a Twitter. Although my Instagram has a cat picture. So all cat lovers, I appreciate it.
Amen. Let's go Cats.
So one thing I want to just mention. I know you guys are mentioning the Bills' torture those 4 years, but the Purple People Eaters. I mean. They had the Steelers to deal with and Tarkenton, so that's kind of like, oh, wow. And I love how we're talking about Aaron Rodgers being a sleazebag, but I'm pretty sure I remember Brett Favre having the dick pic controversy.
He did. That's true.
Prior to coming to the Vikings.
That was like a flip phone too, man. That's like a low resolution.
That's 480p
pic,
if you're trying like that.
You know how much confidence you have to send a low res flip phone picture to someone?
I mean, that I'll be honest, takes balls, so you gotta appreciate them. So, how concerned should the Vikings be about this year's scheduling in regards to just McCarthy's overall development and confidence?
I think we need Judd's mock schedule to come out before we can really break the. I mean, we know the teams and the opponents and the road and the home, but
AFC North, right? AFC North.
Yeah, it's tough.
And it's a second place schedule, so you'll play the second place teams in the NFC, right?
I'll do one. I'll try and get one next week.
Oh, next week.
Nice.
Well,
okay.
Because it's going to die down now.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Time. Yeah.
So, I'll come up with, because I think I try and do 3 or 4 before the actual schedule comes out. So I'll try and do 1.0 next week.
And then it'll be because we are overdue to pick the schedule for the first time. I think we did it last year, actually, before free agency when we knew the opponents.
People were pissed.
So you'll mock one up and
I'll
we'll
mock
do it
a schedule for
Yeah,
us.
come on up.
Is this working?
Yeah, you're good.
Yes, it is. Get close to the mic.
I want to preface this. Got the jersey. Love JJ. Super excited for the year 1 Super Bowl. But I'm gonna go with a little bit of a negative hypothetical. With the roster that Kwesi has constructed for this year and for the next couple years, how bad would JJ have to be in 2025 for us to move on in 2026?
Wow, that's a great Judd Zolgad
You're too young
question
to be
right
that
there.
cynical.
Yeah.
Come on, give it like 5 more years before you ask that question.
Already planning for the demise of JJ McCarthy.
I don't see a potential for that.
Okay, but what if he has just take the numbers Ponder did in his rookie year and the perception that happens to JJ. How do you look at it?
He'd still start the next season. Like now, the season after that, if he continued to struggle. But the other thing too is, and I've talked about this before, I'm also putting a lot of faith in the head coach to do a good job with the kid. Like Ponder was probably never going to be good, but his infrastructure was Bill Musgrave. Didn't provide him a lot.
With the tiny play sheet. Yeah.
So I think that
Run.
But I don't think there's, short of being hurt, I don't think there's anything that McCarthy could do to give up. Could he be benched if it's terrible for a few games? Absolutely. Could it be done? No.
Okay, what would it take for you to fire Kevin O'Connell after next season?
Aaron Rodgers comes in.
Oh, wow.
And they win 4 games.
Or inappropriate pictures on his flip phone, I guess, would be the other. Yeah, coming up.
All right, so I did some hack research before this.
Okay.
So if rookie quarterbacks have been to the conference championship 6 times since '99, second-year quarterbacks have been to the conference championship 10 times.
Dante Culpepper being one of them.
That's right.
Does that count in the timeline?
Yes.
Okay.
Second-year quarterbacks have been to the Super Bowl 6 times, and second-year quarterbacks have won the Super Bowl 3 times.
Brady,
Ben
Roethlisberger,
Mahomes,
and Russell Wilson.
Mahomes
went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
No, he went to the conference championship.
Yeah. Okay.
Won it his third year.
Yeah.
I'm not counting that because it goes into McCarthy basically. If you want to count him a rookie or a second-year guy. Whatever you want to do. Obviously, he's a second-year guy, but totally wiped out. So, and then quarterbacks over 40 in the last.
Okay, I see where we're going here.
So, it's once Brett Favre in the conference championship, and then a bunch of stuff with Brady over 40.
Yeah.
And the variance of the guys that are rookie or second year is pretty wild. So, I guess. A weird hypothetical. Do you think it's more likely next year Aaron Rodgers is 90% a mix of Tom Brady and Brett Favre? or J.J. McCarthy is more a mix of young Mark Sanchez and Brock Purdy.
Mark Sanchez.
Mark
Sanchez
You were
did
going
go
great
deep
till
in
you
the
brought up
playoffs.
that name.
But he did go deep in the playoffs.
He did.
But
Yeah.
that's
So
my
did
point.
Burrow.
That's my point. Is that it's so skewed of how we look at veteran quarterbacks that the variance of what can happen with a well-surrounded team, it's so much. There's so much more variance than what our minds lead us to believe.
I think the issue, though, to your point, and this is the problem in the Brady conversation, is he is such an anomaly. He is such an unusual case. So, like when you say, Brett Favre and Brady a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Brady created this, and credit to him, created this perception that the 40-year-old man plus can go and win football games and go to conference championships and win Super Bowls. And the reality is, I would rather take a shot with a kid. And you think with Brett's a great example. Brett said after 2008, I'm not done. I was hurt. I can come back. Comes back. 2009 is just great. He was cooked in 2010. Yeah. It ends that quick. The fact that Brady was able to stave off father time for so long creates a conversation that I think is exclusive to one man, and that's Tom Brady.
Well, yeah, and just the numbers that he just laid out. I mean, you look at Joe Burrow, who went to the Super Bowl. Obviously, Sanchez, I think Flacco's rookie year got to the championship game, lost to the Steelers. So, there's examples. If anything, the rookie or the second-year guy have proven more examples than just Tom Brady or Brett Favre.
Yeah, coming up.
Hi, gentlemen. My name is Sam. I have two things I want to ask you about. Basically, one's negative and one's positive. So the negative one is, a year ago after the draft, the national media was ready to anoint the Chicago Bears the next greatest gift to football.
Yeah,
right?
we love to do that.
Phil's mentioned that.
They're already starting.
Oh, yeah.
And
these guys agree, by the way.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
big Bears guy.
Rebuild offensive line. So come on.
For instance, those check the Mike, the former PFF guys. They're like, yeah, forget it. The Vikings spent a lot of money, but the Bears.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So but it's the Bears. They did exactly what you expected them to do last season. Why, until they can prove otherwise? I mean, come on.
I'll let these guys fight you right now. Go ahead.
I predicted a couple of days ago when this brush fire rekindled that the Bears will finish last. I still think the Bears, and they'll be improved, but if I was to pick the division right now, I would say Detroit and the Vikings at the top. And I tried to write the Lions off a little bit going into 2024, and I was just wrong, so I'm hesitant to do that again. I think Green Bay is 3, and I think the Bears are 4. I think the Bears are better, but there's a lot of things that we have to see there. But the national people, for the most part, are always going to be pro-Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
It helps their business if the Bears, like the Vikings, we're just here in Minnesota having a good old time. The Bears can be on First Take.
It's not. They want the third biggest media market to be relevant.
Courtney Cronin will be back on, she'll be back from Hallis Hall. Good old Courtney.
Old friend of the show, yeah.
That feels like a thing.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so the positive thing is when my first sports memories are 1991. Yeah. World Series, all that stuff. So I am stupidly optimistic every single year, thinking, well, they did it in 1991 when I was a kid, whatever team it is. And the guy earlier asked, who do you think is going to do it first, the Vikings or the Wolves? So I just, generally speaking, since especially Judd, you've been doing this for a minute or two, and obviously all of you have.
Tell me about it.
But is this period right now? I mean, I don't know what the hell the Twins are doing, but I wish the Poe lads would disappear and just fall into a hole and never be heard from again. But is this the most optimistic you've ever been about Minnesota sports, just as a more general thing?
That's great. That's a good. I think that, if you think about like 1998, for example. We all thought the Vikings were inevitably going to win the Super Bowl. At the same time that the Wolves had Garnett and Marbury, there was no hockey team at the time. And the Twins were garbage in 1998. Yeah, I mean, it's close. It's It's competitive. It's 4 competitive teams right now. And if the Wild get healthy, I know it's a Viking show here, but if your Wild get healthy, they could.
I don't know. I'm optimistic because we have had in the time that to go back to when we were doing the show on 1500, we've had moments where we were really positive about at least a couple teams or 3 teams. I need to give that some thought as far as most positive. Definitely optimistic, but I probably have had moments where I've been more overall for the 4 teams, more positive about the 4 of them.
Yeah. That's a good question though. Yeah, come on up.
All right, so I'm Alex. I'm out of Des Moines, Iowa.
Nice to meet you.
And
What's up, Alex?
Thor's either going to really like me or really not like me for this one. But if the Vikings do not sign Cooper Kupp, and this might be me being my Iowa State delusional self, there's 2 1,000-yard wide receivers out of Iowa State this year. If either of them fall in the draft, you got Jordan Addison's contract coming up. I'm thinking you go get one of them. You got Jaden Higgins at 6'4". You'd be a good outside the numbers receiver. Or you got Jalen Knoll, who's very undersized but an elite route runner. So it's just a thought. I mean,
we will run
Cyclones,
the Iowa State receivers by our guy Thor.
Can you imagine the core that'd be putting Thor right now if you just mentioned those 2 names and you can just start rifling off?
Thor, talk for a half hour about Iowa State receivers.
195, measurable.
The 3-cone drill was fine, but his shuttle time.
And then after 27 minutes, he's like, "But it's up to you guys. Who do you want to draft?"
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, can we move back? Now move up. Now move down. Now move up again. You know what though? I am definitely not at all. I think that there's definite room there to grow, and I would guess that O'Connell agrees completely.
Yeah.
They've got the top 2 guys are really good. Naylor can make plays, and he made some nice plays, but again, 6 drops last year. So I don't think that his job is oh my God, he's great.
Yeah. We will run that by him, by the way. Because we have
State,
no ability to talk about the Iowa State receivers with any level of education.
Jack Trice Stadium, love Jack Trice. Great tailgating. Great tailgating.
Yep, coming back up. TikTok Dustin.
All right, so since we're at the great BlackStack Brewing place, got a 2-pronged question for you. What head coach in the NFL would win in a beer chugging contest, and what player on the Vikings you think would win?
Beer chugging contest on Vikings. I would say Harrison Phillips or Harrison Smith seem like.
Brian O'Neill
would be a good one.
I don't know if Darren Darasaw, maybe.
He's a little leaner, but I would put Hawk up there. Because I've seen Hawk chug some beers at the Wolves games.
Yeah, that's a good one. And Dan Campbell as far as coaches go.
Dan Campbell. Andy Reid, I think, might be too old to be chugging beers.
No, he can't chug beers anymore.
I'm trying to think. There's some newer coaches. Dan Quinn, I think, can put him back.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
To just turn that
the
hat backwards.
Guys can, right?
Mike McDaniel would projectile vomit, I think, if he had 3. That would have been good.
Matt LaFleur strikes me as a guy because he's just a little guy.
I bet you Sean McVay, sneaky fast beer drinker.
I like it.
That's a great question.
I like it.
Yeah, coming up.
Hey guys, my name's Hayden.
There you go.
There you go.
Join the club.
Hey guys, my name's Hayden. I'm from
Short
Apple Valley,
King,
Minnesota.
let's go.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
right?
stick together.
Love the Short Kings.
Yeah.
From Apple Valley, Minnesota, SCSU alumni. I was talking to Declan earlier.
Go Huskies.
Go Huskies. Judd, I'm glad you started talking about the division records and how they would all end. I looked at DraftKings earlier, and it has the Lions number 1, the Packers number 2, Vikings and Bears tied at plus 425. I want to see Judd's reaction to that.
The Vikings and Bears are tied
That's
for last place.
To win the division or for last place?
For last place in the division.
Well, it's both.
Yeah.
No, it's a bunch of crap. The Bears should be last, but that's a bunch of crap. No, because they don't know about McCarthy. They're going to hold. It's going to be the same thing as last year, right? What they do is they look at your quarterback and they're like, unknown, might be a problem.
Yeah.
And the fact that O'Connell resurrected Darnold from the complete dead is forgotten. I would go cash in on that if I were you.
Yeah, it seems like a great opportunity. Yeah.
It's a
All right, let's
financial windfall.
boo this Packers fan out of the building.
But those are great shoes. I do love the shoes. Not going to lie. You look comfortable.
We appreciate it. Big fan of the show. I hate the team, but big fan of the show.
Wow. That's an incredible paradox.
Yeah, crazy, right? Born and raised here too, even better. But anyways, back to what I was going to ask. So my question to you is it more likely you trade out of 24, gather more picks, and I know Judd may hate it. I think you guys could look at some inside linebacker positions because I watched the team play without Blake Cashman.
Yeah.
Kind of gross.
Yeah.
So I think they could add more depth there. And I hear a lot of talk about maybe taking another interior defensive lineman. But what, like an Mario Hampton or somebody around 24, would that be more something that you would like, or trading back? So like a more what-if scenario.
Yeah, I think they're gonna trade back. Don't you guys? By the way, let's boo him one more time. Boo his ass. Boo that man.
Boo his shirt, but applaud the shoes. Those are really good shoes. Mad respect for you.
Just rocking the Brett Favre Crocs. Let's go.
I think they're gonna trade back.
You get that flip phone.
You know what, though? In the Blueprint episodes, a couple of times at least, we did take interior off-the-ball linebackers.
Yeah, let's go.
I agree. And Blake Cashman gets hurt at least once per year. So that could definitely be a position. I don't know if it's of need, but I would like to see them get more depth and strengthen it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the problem is, like, this is way in the weeds, but if you're going to get more picks, trading back from 24 is far and away the best way to do that. Because once you get later, like you get to the last pick, one of the last picks in the third round, you can trade back from that, but you're going to be picking up like an extra seventh or an extra sixth.
Yeah.
Versus trading back from 24 to 31, you might get another early third round pick or something of value.
Yeah,
No.
I think that if it's on the money line, yes or no, do they trade back from 24? Speaking of bets, I would probably take the bet that they're going to trade back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be curious. The one thing is, how far back? That's my one curiosity.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they trade out of the first round entirely, and it's going to be a little bit of a buzzkill. By the way, even if that
Do you want
happens,
to plug the draft party right
party
now?
will be a blast. Scorenorth.com/draft. Draft party tickets available. Either way, like, it's going to be a super fun night. But yeah, they're probably going to trade back. Yeah.
If they trade back and they stay in the first round, I think that's the best move.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'd like to see them stay there.
Yeah.
But who knows?
All right, we got time for one more here. Jared Allen, by the way. Jared Allen, Hall of Famer. Let's go.
Crowd him up, cowboy.
Swing that rope.
That's right.
There you go. That's sack
Let's go curling,
dance.
too.
So some of the talking heads in the media, like our guy Alec Lewis and some other people have said, with these new free agent signings, the Vikings are basically like, a QB-proof team. So I'm wondering what would be a legit stat line for J.J. McCarthy for like a 10 or 12 win season and make it to the playoffs, like in terms of touchdown to interception ratio, total amount of yards. Like, what is like a realistic for this QB-proof team? So
probably like 25 touchdowns, 12 picks,
Would like to see some more rushing touchdowns that eat into that number.
I
right?
guess total touchdowns, passing and rushing, 25 touchdowns.
Yep.
What, between 10 to 15 picks and 30. I feel like 4,000 yards has now become the norm among passers, but I just don't know how this team, if they're going to be running the football more, to say he's a bona fide 4,000 yarder. But I think 3,500 is probably a good floor.
They've been trying to do this for a couple of years, but they are much more better positioned with Will Fries. If they draft a running back too, to just run the ball more with an inexperienced quarterback. And they did do more of that with Darnold last year.
Yes.
But they couldn't punch it in the red zone. So
if they don't improve in the red zone as far as touchdowns go, something's gone really wrong. Because to me, these additions with Kelly and Fries are largely, no pun intended, to do exactly that, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what you have to punch the ball. It's maddening as a fan to watch these games because this team between the 20s can move, right? You get in the red zone and it's like you cannot score a touchdown on the ground.
Yeah.
And the problem there too is, so O'Connell would then go to trying to pass. But like if you're at the 5 there's not a lot of room to work.
Yeah.
So now passing becomes really difficult. So you have to get the ball in through the ground game, and going up the A gap just didn't work, which is you've got to fix or you're not going to win in the playoffs.
Up the A gap. Let's have football.
You got to take the
football
A
sounder
gap.
for that
The
one.
A gap's an
That's
incredibly important place.
Right. A gap. So, well, listen, you guys, that's a wrap on our Purple Daily Unplugged here tonight. Thank you so much for coming out.
You guys are awesome. Thank you.
For supporting. You guys are the best. One of the most fun weeks in Vikings offseason history.
Hold on a second. I'll get the flag again.
Let's get the flag
we'll pay this off.
for $250 million in free agent spending. And we'll gather again at the Fillmore in Minneapolis, night 1 of the NFL draft for the 4th annual Purple Daily Draft Party. For the Sports Dad, for Declan, for Pat, Adam, Ross, I'm Phil. This is Purple Daily, where we want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. Thank you, guys. And thanks to BlackStack. Love us some BlackStack.